name is D.Lochbaum with the Union of Concerned Scientists. In parallel with what the NRC is doing now, or the TVA and the NRC is doing now with licensing, the initial licensing of West Bar Unit 2, the NRC and TVA are also pursuing the relicensing of Sequoia Units 1 and 2. Both of them were built around the same time, same design, both largely constructed in the early 80s. Yet the relicensing of Sequoia Unit 2 is required because the aging management of passive systems has to be proven to the NRC to show that concrete and other passive structures don't degrade over the next 2 decades. For Wattsboro Unit 1, which is the same age, or Unit 2, which is basically the same age, that same set of requirements does not apply. So I guess the question for the NRC is the actions being taken at Sequoia Unit 1 right, or the actions not being taken on Wattsboro Unit 2 right, or somehow are they both right, because they're exactly opposite?
So let me start, and then others might want to chime in. I'd actually choose your third option, Dave. I think that we're both right.
Let's choose the one.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously a good observation that construction of both of these facilities, the Sequoia and the Wattsboro facility, started in the same era. So if you're just looking from a chronological point of view, the age of the structures and the components is about the same. One of the specific questions that I asked of Mr. Skaggs during the TVA presentation was oriented around trying to understand what they've done specifically to validate or verify that, particularly the passive components, because I think, as you heard, the refurbishment program that TVA has embarked upon, and that we have done a tremendous amount of inspection to assess the efficacy of that refurbishment program, has addressed the active component pieces, right? So it's really the passive components. I think that's the kernel of your question. And so I thought Mr. Skaggs provided some good examples of things that they've done. For example, concrete boring. So look at the concrete and validate that as they take a sample of that concrete out, and they test it for the various components of concrete, tensile strength, and so on, that it still meets the design requirements, or exceeds the design requirements, I think Mr. Skaggs said. Similarly with things related to cabling. A big difference between Sequoia and Wattsboro, in my mind and the minds of my staff, my technical staff, is that Wattsboro Unit 2 has not undergone the factors like exposure to radiation, high temperature, fluid flows, and so on. So, to put it in a car analogy, and I'm hesitating to do this because that could be, let's say you bought a 1963 Corvette, right? But you never ran it. Just sat in your garage, and it was covered and everything, and then 25 or 30 years later you want to run it. Well, you're going to go do an evaluation, make sure all the parts are in workable order, that the thing is essentially consistent with what you bought as a brand new car, and go through that process. And so, it's kind of a lousy analogy, but
except it will be a 73 Corvette.
73 Corvette, yeah. But I thought a 63 Corvette was a nicer car. I like that model better. So it's a good question, something that we've seriously looked at, and I will say this, Dave, is that one of the things that our staff is looking at is, because of the question that you asked, and should there be some aging management programs put in place, is if and when Unit 2 gets licensed, and if and when Unit 1 perhaps applies for a renewed license, that would be a appropriate time frame that we believe to look at that particular issue for Unit 2 in terms of application of aging management.
But if perchance Unit 1 were not to apply for, you're willing to let Wattsboro operate for up to 40 years without measures?
Then that question will be dealt with independent of whether there's a license renewal.
You don't have a mechanism to act upon it, which is the license. Or 54 is the only vehicle for doing that. So your desire may be there, but how would you implement that desire and make them do anything if you don't do it now?
Well, we have the capability, for example, to order licensees to do things if we thought it was in the best interest of safety. And between now and then, right? So there's a number of plants that have entered for period of extended operation, right? There's a number of plants that are 40 years and older. So we're gonna garner over the next decade a lot of experience and information about these plants relative to the impact and influences of life beyond 40. And that will help us in terms of making an appropriate decision about should we do something relative to Watts Bar Unit 2 because of the significant gap in time from construction permit to when an operating license might be issued.
Ballpark, when's the last time the NRC issued an order requiring a licensee to do it?
Let's see, after Fukushima, we issued several orders.
Prior to that,
Um,
March 30th, 1987?
9/11, and then the orders were issued.
Okay, very rarely.
Yeah, it's a little bit more for that. I'd have to go and research, and you probably already know the answer because of the great research that you did. But,
But see, doesn't matter, because all the answers are right. That's what I just learned from this. Thanks.
thanks, Dave. Good question.